Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode with your girl Michelle. I'm happy to have you. I hope you've been taking care of yourselves and that you are keeping well. In this episode today, I want to talk about something that's really close to my heart. A lot of times in our journeys, we have a lot of people who come and are supportive and help us through our journey. I certainly believe that everybody that we meet is someone who is here to impart a lesson or to help us, give us a helping hand to realize something and to go further in being better with ourselves. Most of the times when people come into our lives and they show us things that we're really not happy to own up to because they're not good character traits, we start to resent the person, or we start to think of the person as being a naysayer. It's easy to fall into that trap because certainly nobody wants to be told that, well, you're not as fabulous as you thought you were, right? But I think what's really important for me is when I looked back, I realized the people who were sent to me to show me where I could do better are actually the reason why I am better. But it takes a lot for someone to sit and listen to someone's feedback that might not always be positive. It takes a lot of self-awareness, right? And understanding that you're not perfect and it's okay for you to have flaws as well. And we'll always have flaws because you'll never ever attain perfection. But what's important is when you have people around you that love you enough and I guess are honest enough. They might not really love you, but just are honest in who they are. They're honest people. If you were to ask them something and they gave you an honest opinion, it's good for you to take a step back and kind of process the emotion, the initial emotion being, oh my God, did you just say that? That's the initial emotion. And then just to actually sit when you're alone and you can actually process, but that person said this about me. Do I in any way, shape or form see how I could have come across as someone who actually is not a good listener, while I think I am? And you could actually ask the person, I mean, if they were open enough to tell you that, listen, you are not a good listener. You think you are, but you're not. They have a reason why they're saying that. And it would be good to understand from them, okay, why is it that you say that? And they'll give you the reason. And then it takes time for you then to go and process that, to say, okay, wait, so she said that she thinks I don't listen because I actually interject a lot of the times that she speaks. And then you could then have a conversation with yourself, sit yourself down and see whether there's a truth in that or not. And I guess the next step is to understand whether you actually want to be a better listener, right? So not all the feedback that you get from people is something that you should take and internalize, because I always say people also you see you in filters of who they are themselves. So it's a very slim line between understanding that they're actually giving you an actual representation of what they saw versus something that they could be projecting to you as well. Find balance, but I think the only way to actually understand whether it was a projection or it was an honest view of what it is that you were presenting in that time and moment is to look at the reason why they say that not you were not kind in that situation, or you were abrupt, or you were rude as well. If you can understand the reasoning, then you can internalize that and check with yourself and say, well, they said that I'm rude because I'm always, going against what they say. And you can actually process that and say, but wait, hang on, they actually remove it being me who had done it. They actually are disagreeable on that very particular topic. So I wasn't being rude. Perhaps they viewed it as rude because I was the only one in the room who stood up to them and I told them that no, it actually isn't like that. And perhaps that's why they're saying I'm rude. So I guess what I'm saying is it's important then for you to really process the reason why the person says you're rude, or you are judgmental, or you don't listen, and be honest with yourself and see whether there is a truth in why they would have said that. And if there is a truth in it, I think the opportunity lies for you to then actually say, I don't want to come across as a person who is rude. So how do I work at being able to be assertive while also not being rude? And you can generalize that and just look at how you present yourself in similar situations, because definitely the only thing you're accountable for is how you intentionally present yourself to a person. It's up to them how they perceive you, right? But I also take a lot of value in having conversations with people who are very honest. A lot of people don't like honest people. And I would know because I'm famous for being brutally honest sometimes. I'll work on the brutal part, but I also see that sometimes it comes across as brutal because in that moment in time, the person is very emotional and they're processing what I'm saying with the emotion that I'm being disagreeable to them, when I'm actually just being disagreeable to the manner in which perhaps they presented their concern, their assertiveness, or their downright unwillingness to do something. So it takes a while for, I guess, honest people to be, I think, understood to be valuable people. I mean, yeah, being honest is such a, I feel like being honest is such a lost, it's a lost trade. A lot of people are not honest with themselves, and when you experience them, then you're actually not experiencing the real essence and the truth of the person. When you find people that are honest, even if they're telling you something that is uncomfortable, something that you really don't want or like to hear, I think just understand the relationship you have with that person. I certainly take a lot more cognizance when my best friends tell me that, listen, you didn't do well in this, in the way you reacted to this, or you didn't represent yourself well there. I really take a lot more time to really unpack that with them, because I know the intention is loving. The intention is to make me live up to the very person that I said I want to be, who is kind in nature and all of that. And if they see that something I'm doing is not representing the thing that I actually want to be, I welcome them telling me, and I take it on as an opportunity for me to get better. How else will I get better if people are not honest with how I am presenting myself to them? And of course, while it is my ultimate decision what I do with it, I think certainly the message I'm giving today is, you know, those people who are always telling you something you don't like to hear, I think don't look at them as naysayers, really, unless you've actually done the test and they are naysayers, because some people are just like that. But before ruling them out as just being people who are pessimistic or just mean or just naysayers, just take the time to understand why it is that they view you in the way they do. Take that information, go back, sit down with yourself and really unpack, is there a truth to what they're saying? And if there is a truth to it, then you decide, is this something that I want to work on? And you've got the opportunity to get better at it, right? And because you have a person who can tell you whether you are representing yourself in the way that you want to, because they told you you ain't already, you can go back to them after you've practiced and learned some tools in how to be, you know, more accommodating when you are giving a different opinion to someone else and they feel strongly about something and you're working towards it. And you can test with them to say, did I do that better? Did it feel like I was being more respectful even though I was still being assertive in saying no? And you could go back to your honest buddy and they'll give you another honest opinion on whether you're getting better at it or honey, we still need to do some work on it. Value my besties who do not let me they do not listen, they do not let me get away with just, you know, misrepresenting who they know I actually desire to be. It's brutal in the sense that in that moment it's like, okay, I've just been told to sit down, right? But I think our relationships are so close that I understand all the time that it is always from a place of, I am recognizing that there is a part that doesn't actually fit with who you would want to be. So I'm highlighting it for you so you can work on it. And it just works out to be better. And when you have the type of people around you that are honest and they do it out of love, it honestly doesn't feel as bad as you would think. For I guess what I'm sharing is, for you, you've got those people who are very, very honest in your circle. Get closer to them. They are there to kind of highlight some of your blind spots. They give you opportunities to see some of the things that you might not be able to see, and certainly a way to work on them. If it matters to you to work on them, so you do. If it doesn't matter to you to work on that, but well, here you know that sometimes you appear rude, and if you're okay doing that, then that's okay. But the point is, then you will know this is how you are perceived, this is how you are presenting yourself in certain situations and circumstances. So to my besties, thank you so much for always being honest with me. I think I appreciate so much that we can be honest in all regards. Yes, this post was just about me saying, let's look at people who are not always giving us, you know, this information that we want, and are actually highlighting things that are of concern to us when they highlight them, and appreciate that they're able to do that. Let's take the time to listen to people who are giving us those insights into things where we are flawed and things that we're not really representing ourselves in the best of light. Understand why they say that, because I think that's the most crucial thing, for them to tell you what it is that you did or didn't do. And then you can go back, take that information and just process it for yourself to say, okay, is there truth in that? And if there is truth in that, how do I work on it? Or isn't there truth to what it is that they felt or that they saw? It could be more of a projection than it is a reality of what I was actually doing. And that helps you grow. So reach out to your honest buddies, have real candid conversations. If you're really invested in trying to do better, be better, live better, and just have people experience you better, those people are golden. They are there, they are placed there for us to understand what it is that we need to work on, sometimes that we're not aware that we need to work on. And also for the people who are honest, like me, let's also be conscious and aware that the way that we tell a person, certainly giving them feedback on something that could be highlighted as a flaw or something that's amiss in who they are, we must be sensitive about it. I think remembering that communication is about the intent to communicate to the other person. It's about the other person. It's not always just about making your point and then leaving it at that. So if you think about how would it be the best way for me to speak to said person and highlight that this thing actually doesn't make them look in a good light, it's about doing that work before you have that conversation, if you have the opportunity to do so. With me and my besties, it's as real as it comes. If I feel it now, we say it now, and I love it that way. But hey, different strokes for different folks, so find a balance that works for you. But certainly take care of yourself, take time to rest, and I will see you again in another episode. For today, ta-ta!